lot of men have committed suicide.
All right.
But not even that. A lot of men committed suicide. A lot of men have killed each other over girls. What's your take on that?
Well, who doesn't love women? I love women, and I've had multiple times where, I loved a woman, things don't work out, and that's a very sad situation. But I think it's really, I need like a clinical psychologist in here to really verify this, but here's how I look at suicide, right? Two common things that all living organisms on this planet share as a not a desire, but like a urge, I guess you could say, is the urge to survive and the urge to reproduce. And the thing that's so interesting about suicide is that in order for somebody to do that to themselves, they literally have to bypass the number one human urge on this planet, which is to survive. And for that to happen, I think there has to be something seriously wrong, like with your brain. So I could sit here and say they should just be more disciplined and this and that, but that's a little insensitive because these people really have something wrong with their brains. That's really how it is. So I don't think it's so much even about a girl. It's more a perfect storm of someone who's already vulnerable mentally, in a bad mental state, whether it be how they grew up or things like that, and there's something already wrong with the way they think, and then combine that with the intense sadness and grief that a man or a woman feels with heartbreak. And when you get a perfect storm like that, I think that's how these suicide things can happen. So you really have to ask yourself, why do these mental problems exist? Is it a testament to how these people are growing up? Is it a testament to, maybe it is a testament to self-discipline. Maybe through lack of self-discipline, you can develop, mental patterns that set you up for failure. It's a very complicated problem that will need a very complicated answer. So when I see something like that and men killing themselves over a girl, it's very sad, but I just asked the question, is it really over a girl, or is there an underlying mental issue that's affecting these men?
Okay. So you made it pretty clear that there's a problem with their brain if they kill themselves.
Definitely, because you have to bypass the strongest urge and the strongest primal instinct on the planet, and that's the urge to survive. It drives you to do every single thing, it drives you subconsciously to do almost every single thing any human does in his or her life. So to be able to bypass that, you have to be at a very damaged mental place. So you have to ask yourself, how is it that these people get there? And that's a complicated answer.
Well, I actually disagree with you, and I think it's not complicated at all.
Okay.
I would say that saying that something is wrong with their brain is a fair statement, but the only thing wrong with their brain is what's in their control. I don't think that saying there's something wrong with their brain means that it's out of their control and that they need a medicine or they need something to get their brain correct, because they weren't born like that. I think that they went through certain shit. Yeah, they have trauma, but it's as simple as switching your negative thoughts to positive thinking, and that will save a lot of people. And I've seen a lot of cases where that saved a lot of people, where instead of waking up thinking that I'm the victim and my life sucks and this happened to me, you completely switch the whole frame and step on that bullshit and say, I'm grateful for this shit and I'm gonna go do this shit. I'm gonna go be a man.
Okay.
So I don't think it's something wrong with their brain. I think that it's temporarily something wrong with their way they think.
Okay, I think it's not as easy as switching. It's as easy as us to say for them to switch from positive to negative thinking. But
well, no, I've done it too.
Right, and a lot of people have done it, but you have to understand that it's easy for someone else to say just switch from positive to negative thinking, but when you are already in that mindset, you have to understand these people, they don't know that that's the problem. And even if they do, it's extremely difficult to be self-aware to the point where you can not only realize that's the problem, but also have the mental strength and the awareness and understanding to fix the problem. So I think yeah, it's easy. If these people who kill themselves switch from negative to positive thinking, obviously their life would be a whole lot better. But like I said before, it's a lot more complicated than that. And when you're actually stuck in that state of mind, maybe me and you have made it out, maybe a lot of people have made it out, but that you still have to admit it's an extremely, and maybe we were just born with better discipline, I don't know, but what you can't ignore and what you can't be naive to is the fact that it's extremely difficult to just switch from negative to positive thinking when you're already in that bad of a mindset. You can't think clearly and concisely like how you would need to think in order to make that switch. It's not that simple. That's what I think.
Okay, so say with that being said, what now? Are we just gonna let that kill men?
No, I think you will.
What's next?
I think we should work to understand why they're even in that bad state of mind in the first place. You know, is it because I think that there's a lot of deep underlying problems in it, and it's really a case-to-case basis. There's some, you know, motifs that connect the whole thing, but a lot of it is case by case. For example, I can only speak on like something that you know would kind of that I really understand. So let's say, you know, maybe it's a black man. Well, yeah, they could just switch from negative to positive thinking, and that would probably save their life. But 60% of black mothers are single, and of that 60%, 80% of those are in poverty. So he might have grew up impoverished, he might have grew up with a single mother, and yeah, he could have switched from negative to positive thinking, but it's hard to do that when you already have all these things that are affecting your life anyways. So I think, you know, and I'm it's a lot different for women. I'm tough on men. I really think that when you hit a certain age, it's your responsibility to change that way of thinking. But we can't ignore how hard it would be when you already have those things stacked against you. So what would be the best answer I have to the problem, which isn't a complete answer. It's not a foolproof answer. I don't think anyone on this planet has a foolproof answer to the problem of mental health in the society. And if they think they do, and they tell you they do, they're lying to you. But I think what would be a lot better is if men became men and knew how to choose the correct woman to have families with. And if you do that and you lower the single motherhood rate, if a real man's raising a family, he's not going to be broke, so you lower the poverty rate. And once you get those two things straight and you can raise a child in a household where the kid can see what a healthy dynamic between a man and a woman is, then I don't think the man would later in his life be so distraught over losing a woman, because he grew up understanding how that dynamic works and understanding he could look to his father and know what to do in those situations. If you look to your father or if you look to your mother getting beaten on by men, or you look to your if you look to your mother getting beaten on by men, or you look to your father beating on women, and you see these unhealthy relationships, if now later in your life you are with a woman and things don't go your way, you might look at that like there's no hope, because that's all you know. You would have a very doomerish, gloomy, you know, just a very sad outlook on relationships in a whole. You will subconsciously think that it's no use, you know, because the only relationships you've ever seen were terrible ones. So when that happens, and when you start to understand these underlying problems, well, now you can see how somebody could fall into that trap and end up falling into it so deeply that they're able to bypass their number one biological instinct, which is to survive, and then take their own life, you know? So there's certain pipelines, I guess. I don't really like that term, but there's certain pipelines, there's certain traps that men and women can fall into that can get them into those states of mind. So yeah, it's a very deep problem and a very complicated problem that would, in order to solve, would require a extremely complicated and thoughtful answer that at this moment in time, I don't think anyone on the planet has. So yeah, it's very sad, but a lot of the times in reality, it's not as simple as it may seem. And you really have to do some deep thinking and really be able to be self-aware and be able to analyze yourself in order to fix the problem. So yeah, very sad.
Okay. I want to end it off by saying this. Any man who's watching this who's going through depression, reason I do this is because I don't look at depression up here and me under here. Depression could be real, who knows? I'm not here to prove shit's real and shit's wrong. I do this because I don't think it's real, okay? Now, that's, I think, is your first problem. I think your first problem is you do not do this. You say depression and you look at it like it's something that's crazy, that's something that is taking over your life, right? Now, you heard in the beginning of this whole video that depression is a suicide, men killing themselves. It started off with over pussy, right? Over women, but we both had clarified that and said it's not usually over women. It's usually a deeper problem, right? That's how they grew up. But yeah, nobody has the answer to this. But the last thing I want you guys doing right now watching this video is to click off this video and end this video thinking to yourself that the problem is too deep to solve, because the deepest problems on planet Earth are the ones that got to be solved first. Let's keep it real. Like if you broke but you got bad mental health, yeah, you can focus on getting money, but the first thing you do when you wake up, you want to make sure you sit at your desk and you want to make sure you open up a piece of paper and you write 3 things that you are grateful for in your life. You want to make sure you go send a text to your family member, your mom, and say, I love you, and explain to her why you love her. That should automatically make you feel better up here. And then you can move on to getting money. But the last thing I want you men doing, or anybody watching this, is thinking that this shit is too deep to solve or too deep to do anything, because that is where a lot of suicide comes, right? It comes from the trauma and the real life experiences that people go to, but that cannot kill you yourself. That doesn't make you commit suicide alone. The shit that makes you commit suicide is you picking up that gun or picking up that knife and actually pulling that trigger. And in order for a man or a human being to do that last step, they have to they have to have no hope. They have to have lost all hope. And it's impossible to lose hope when you constantly wake up every day to solve this big problem in your life, to solve mental health. So I just want to end it off by saying that if you're going through bad mental health, you're not a bitch, you're not a pussy. But if you click off the video and you continue to think that it's way bigger than you, then you're not going to get out of it. On some real shit, you need to take action. You need to do this shit. You need to dig at this problem, and you need somebody to sit there and really put this in your head and say, you take it like it's like a dumbbell, right? It's a 50-pound dumbbell, and you trying to curl that bitch. All the bad mental health, all your negative thoughts, all the trauma that you've been through is a big dumbbell, and you either gonna let that shit drop your arm, or you gonna say, fuck that, I'm gonna be a man, and you gonna curl that bitch up. It's that simple. So you gotta get that fire within you. Like, yeah, I'm in the lowest point of my life right now, but that shit is gonna make me want to attack it even more. And with men killing each other over pussy, like not even themselves, killing each other over pussy, I mean, that's a whole nother situation. That's
we'll have to make a different video for that.
Make a different video for that. But be a man and just go to the gym today.
Take care of yourself.
Get